Hello, lovelies, I am the... Yeah, you'll be hearing that noise a whole bunch on your first run of this son of a bitch, believe you me. I am the Fragnostic. It's the blessed epilogue to the 5-day festival of misery called work that we know as the weekend, and thusly, lovelies, as sure as dogs sniff asses, it is time for another Retro Rumble. Backstory wanna holla at ya, boy. It has been so long, so very long. I have hunted evil for no less than 1,000 years. Yet, I remember well how this pain started, as though it were just yesterday. When my blood was warm, I was a great warrior. Neither man nor beast could best me in mortal combat. Then, in my arrogance, I said one day even death himself will bow before my swords. Oh, there's more. Don't you worry. You get nice and cozy there, lovelies. This motherfucker's tale of woe and misbegotten pride extensive. Here we go. He smiled and said, from a man of death, from death himself, a wager. If you win, eternal life is yours. If I win, your soul is mine to do with as I wish. Foolishly, I accepted. With sword and spell, we clashed toe to toe. The world trembled at our unleashed powers. I attacked with such fury and might that even death himself was taken aback, and then, incredibly, failed. Goddamn, it's the com-apocalypse, and none of them are in the right place. That is the worst punctuated screen in 16-bit history. It's like walking along with your pack of commas, trying to open them, and motherfucker, you split the bag. They're gone everywhere, goddammit. I toppled the master and he granted my reward. I am cursed to live until all supernatural evil is destroyed. I hunt and fight and kill until the end of my curse. Only then will I be able to seek solitude and forever rest. In the immortal words of A.A. Milne, if you bargain with the Reaper, he'll just fuck you deeper. Can't remember exactly which book that was from. Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, I think, but such is the dilemma that our immortal idol, our undying Ubermensch, faces here in Chakan, the Forever Man, developed by Extended Play and released by Sega for the Genesis in the December of 1992. Before we set a single goddamn foot into this nightmare, we're going to make sure our rectums are nice and inviting for a retro buggering by switching on to the most brutal difficulty. Right, a lot of crap's going to be happening all at once here, so I'll fill you in better as we go. We're currently in the terrestrial plane of the navigation stage, our hub to 4 worlds of supernatural doom and devilry, and we're going to begin our war with this monster right here in the fire dimension. She is known as Elkenrod. She was once a beautiful healer who cured the sick and soothed those in pain. Now on the side of darkness, Elkenrod feeds on the pain and suffering of her captives. The greater their suffering, the more power she wields. Now you can choose to do these worlds in any order you like. On paper anyway. Not really. You'll see what I mean very shortly. Let's talk basics. Let's tell you how this son of a bitch works before I start going off on tangents about how Chakan looks like a cross between a 16th century Puritan and the leader of Lapland's Elf Rebellion. Because this truly is one of the hardest games that the Genesis ever crapped out into the 90s. In fact, I'd only really stick Contra Hardcores and the North American version of Shadow of the Beast above it, so easily a top 3 podium finish on that list. And because you can't ever truly die or face a game over screen in Chakan, you might think that's a bit of a soft claim to make, but all is not as it first appears here. Much like Chakan's own bargain with death, your immortality comes at a most arduous cost. Take a look-see at the hourglass in the bottom right of the screen there. Each world that you access from the navigation room has 3 stages with a boss on the 3rd, which is a fairly typical setup, but the catch is this. They are all as brutally hard as a chicken rapist's erection in a fucking barnyard. Enemies don't so much spawn on cue as loosely interpret when and where they're supposed to show up, in what quantities, and how eligible they are to take any damage from you. The levels themselves are just ludicrous goddamn labyrinths that you will never escape alive if you dare to explore them. The collision detection and controls are absolute filth that listen to you at just the wrong side of a fucking coin toss. I will elaborate as we go on, but the rotten postulant icing on this arseborn cake is that hourglass in the bottom right of the screen. That hourglass is your time limit for the entirety of the 3 stages. Not just this one, all 3. And it doesn't reset itself if you die, oh no. No, if you take enough damage, or trip over into a pit, or just fall prey to one of the game's many insta-kill traps, you get booted back to the hub world, at which point you're welcome to restart from the level that you're currently on. But, as the deaths rack up and you waste precious time searching every maze-like stage for the exit, that hourglass sound is trickling away. And once it's all gone, you have to start all over again from the very first level of the world. No password system, no save games, you have to do this entire game in one sitting. We've just grabbed ourselves the scythe there, my weapon of choice for dispatching most shit that won't die in one hit in this game. And we're going to abandon the Fire Realm for now and instead head over to the Earth Realm. Why? Because not only do the stages in Chakan assault you with all the vicious barbs and foils that I just mentioned and more, they also have completely impassable sections if you're not armed with the correct weapon, which means that while you're free to head into any portal you like, you're not going to get very far if you don't follow a specific path and get the right tools for the job. So this is really where all the build up and big man chatter about Chakan being a swordsman so ridiculously powerful that Death himself ate shit in a duel against him falls flat, because here in the Spider Queen's hive, you are in constant danger of having your arse handed to you by bugs that are barely bigger than your shin. These fucking things will shoot a global web at you that will absolutely ruin you, and they do it so quickly that your lumbering, albeit neatly dressed arse stands no chance of getting out the damn way. So I find it's generally easier to just run for your bloody life wherever possible. In fact, that's a pretty good rule of thumb for the entirety of Chakan. Just run the fuck away, just leave the area immediately. It's really not worth getting into a gamble with anything in this game when even the most basic minion seems to have a hitbox with a fairly regular existential crisis going on. You'll notice I've been picking up the occasional potion around the place too. Chakan has quite an extensive alchemy system that I'll show you in a little while when we need it. And by mixing different types of potion that you find, you'll be able to pull off a whole range of different in-game effects to help you out. There's spells to refill your life bar, slow down your enemies, make bombs, turn you invisible, invulnerable, give you a super high jump, set your twin swords ablaze with not fighting you, thank you, goodbye, different elemental effects, and grant you a projectile attack. There's even one at high cost to reverse the stage's hourglass, so if you're up against the area boss and you're about to land the killing blow and look over to see that the time limit's about to fuck you, there is a way out, but there's a catch with that too. Anything remotely positive in Chakan has a catch. This you will learn as it repeatedly murders you. There are only a finite number of potions in the game, and you can't just keep farming levels you've already played to get more. Once you've finished the world, the portal seals itself off so you can't go back, and if you get the bright idea of trying to grind the area that you're currently on by grabbing all the potions, running out the clock and then going in for another run, Chakan takes everything you've collected away from you on the level that you're on when you die. So you can't just stockpile alchemy supplies and god mode your way through the stages without paying for it later, because the nastiest catch of all is that there are at least 2 parts of this game that are impossible to pass without the right potions. And if you use them all before you get there, you're fucked and you have to start all over again from the very beginning. Now, although the potions are finite, there are a good number of them lying around, especially in this early part of the game. I'm not grabbing every single one here, just the ones that are on our route, because a lot of these branching paths that we're running past do eventually skirt off to potion caches. The worst part of that is that by the time you've sought out and collected them all, the time limit will be breathing down your neck and you'll more than likely not be able to finish the area in time anyway. So some levels have mini bosses like whatever the fuck this is supposed to be, some sort of craptastic dragon. The one saving grace for the vast majority of the bosses in Chakan is that they have very easily abusable patterns or stun loops that can finish them off quickly. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about once we're toe to toe with the Spider Queen in about a minute or so here. You see these green webs? That's why we needed to grab the scythe before we came here. The scythe is the only weapon that can cut through them, and likewise, the reason we didn't see the fire realm out straight away is that we're going to need the grappling hook for the second stage of that one, which we can only get from the water realm, so have fun wasting all your hourglass sand trying to figure that shit out. It's early days yet, I know, and I'm making a relatively clean fist of this so far, but that's only because I've played this to death over the past fortnight in preparation, and I know all the little quirks, of which there are probably hundreds. For example, the stinger on the ceiling here, don't make the mistake of thinking just because you've hit it, you can immediately walk past it. Still lethal for a few frames after it rolls its tentacles up. Right, you are not getting past some of these bosses without taking a hit. That's just the ugly truth of the matter. You can eat a couple of balls worth of damage to trap this scuttling arachno bitch between the arena wall and your axe to keep her perpetually stunned. You need to be pretty exact with your placement here. Any further away and she'll attack, any closer and she'll run straight through you. But if you can plant yourself on this sweet spot after the big red column in the background, there ain't a fucking thing she can do to you. About 12 or so hits should do you. There we go. You get a nice fireworks show of screaming souls when she goes down, and you drop back in the center of the navigation plane for your next adventure. Alrighty, we're off to Waterworld next for the grappling hook. You'll have a wonderful time figuring out how that piece of shit works when you first get hold of it. From the blackness of the deepest ocean it came. The one called Mantis created an evil army and built a fortress to protect itself from me. It has wasted its time. My swords will taste your evil blood. So there, bug. Alright, you got 2 routes through this stage. You can either hop across the top of the pillars, which is faster, but exposes you to swarms of these aggravating fucking dragonflies, or you can wade through the water at the bottom, which will slow you down, but give you a fair shot at cutting down the little demon frogs that live down that way. You'll wind up falling down there a couple of times whatever you do anyway, so you just got to hope and pray that the game hasn't decided to spawn 2 of them underneath you. I'll explain this spin jump attack for you quickly because it really is the most useful move in Chakan and will pull you out of the shit more times than you're able to count if you know how to harness it properly. Practically speaking, it's your double jump for all of your standard double jump purposes, which usually translates to barely clinging onto ledges a country mile away from you. But if you hit the attack button at any point in the spin, Chakan will give you the old steel tornado that you see there. Now, you're mostly safe while you're pulling this off, but you're not invincible. There's still a fair amount of bullshit that can elbow you out of it, usually flying enemies coming down at you diagonally. But the real key to using this properly is to know that the attack itself only lasts for about a second before you go back to being vulnerable, so you gotta know when to trigger it. If I've got to head down from the pillars into the water here, for example, I'll do a spin jump and only push the attack button just before I hit the drink, so that if those hoppity little fuckers are lurking around underneath me, they'll be wiped out before I land. Hopefully. Sometimes I just ignore damage depending on what they feel like. Alright, unfortunately that octopus has to die before we can leave the level, which is a real kick in the fucking coconuts because he is nearly impossible to kill without taking a beating. You gotta chop 2 of his tentacles off, which will damage you when they fall off, but if you're at close range there's just no fucking way to avoid that. And then he'll start spazzing out and charging all over the place, at which point he's fairly easy prey, but what's a headache. There's 2 in a row to fight on the next stage. 3 if you go the wrong way, but we'll knock together a little alchemical refreshment to put their lights up. That's the grappling hook we just took there, essential bit of kit, but let me show you this right here. This is just an odd bit of level design for me. Okay, so the only way to move past the first floor of this stage is to mix yourself up a high jump potion. Right there. Now, you have to hop through this hidden segment of the ceiling and you can start the level properly, and you'll see as we go that there are grappling points stuck up all over the damn place, but since you've already used the high jump potion, you just don't need to use them. You can make all the jumps you need to without the hook. For the most part, I think there's like one instance where you need it right at the very end, but still, why bother? Doesn't wear off, lasts you the whole fucking stage. It's useful there for avoiding the giant mantis and Saves a bit of time trying to hop up to the platform here too, but otherwise, I mean, wouldn't you think a level designed to essentially be a grappling hook training ground would require you to use, I don't know, the fucking grappling hook, and not a potion? If you used all your potions up before you got to that point, by the way, you shit out of luck and damned to a reset. Not fucking about with these slimy bastards today, so we're setting our damn swords on fire and sniping their dirty sea arms off. Pow! Pow pow! You got different elements you can imbue your swords with, as well as fire. There's ice and two kinds of lightning, air and dirt. Dirt lightning. You ever heard of that one? Shit, they missed out grease lightning, didn't they? For the cost of all your potions, John Travolta shows up in a Ford Deluxe and runs everybody the fuck over. Sandy! Supposedly they do more damage to certain enemies depending on where you are, but I've honestly never noticed a difference. If you go straight into the door at the start of this level, you will save yourself a shitload of bother because it despawns a massive swarm of dragonflies that will bother you throughout the entirety of the stage. Seriously, we'd be fighting for our fucking lives right now if I hadn't done that. You'll see quite a few times in this stage, more than any other, the secondary, very essential purpose of Chakan's role. If you try to hop onto any of these ledges, you'll bump into the top of the screen and fall to the bottom, so that's really the only way you can move forward. Smack this fish statue in the face to lower the seaweed barrier beneath us here. You saw the potions at the top of the screen when I jumped up there. Here's how you get them. Wait until the symbol on the middle door turns to the spidery looking symbol and waltz on through. Mantis is right up ahead and he is the biggest joke in the entire fucking game. Here he is. Get him to follow you down here and the stupid bastard will dance himself to death. Oh yeah, do the fucking monkey. What an idiot. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I tell you about stun loops, and there is no blatant example than King Mantis the retarded, but now we got the grappling hook, we can head back to Elkenrod's turf. One thing to note about the grappling hook is that it's the only weapon besides the swords that you can pull off a spinning jump while holding. None of the others will let you do it, which is kind of aggravating when you've got to constantly be switching between stronger weapons and then back to your shitty ones, just to be able to hop across a gap. Both the hook and the sword are the weakest weapons in the game, but they're also the most maneuverable. You'll see that I'm able to just hold both of them out and let shit kill itself on the end of them, whereas with everything else you have to take repeated swings at your enemies to damage them, which can end badly for you if you're not timing it right. Bit of suicide diving to get us through some rough terrain there, much as I'm fond of doing in Castlevania. We should be able to just swing straight up through most of this section. Watch the bats near the top there. And into the secret wall. Another suicide dive. Whee! And here's the exit. And most of these stages are mercifully brief once you know roughly where you're heading. I've just got to say, everything about Chakan's title suggests that it should be a 1970s blaxploitation movie. Even his name sounds like the onomatopoeic representation of his own theme tune. Chakan, 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 Chakan! He's a bad motherfucker. Chakan! Cut through your ass like butter. Chakan! Oh baby. If you're in some shit and you need a hand, just call Chakan the Forever Man. Woo! Woo! Na 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 na. Alright, so that swerved into Michael Jackson territory near the end there, but still, I just imagine Fred Williamson playing this son of a bitch with Pam Grier as the woman he loved. Chakan! Oh, you motherfucker. Alright, Elkenrod's up. This is probably the toughest boss in the entire game, and it's very difficult to lock her into any sort of pattern. Use the grappling hook. It's weaker, but she seems to take glancing damage from it, even if you're not swinging it directly at her. You can't just sit on that ledge and swing at her, by the way. Even if she's standing below you and blast one of her fireballs, it still counts as you getting hit, despite you being 3 feet above her. Oh shit. I might have fucked up. Come on. Drop dead, witch. Thank fuck for that. It's a tough game, I'm telling you. Don't be surprised if I balls this one up. In a lot of ways, it's tougher than something like Battletoads or Ninja Gaiden just because of how random everything is. It's like a spin on the roulette wheel at any given time for shit as basic as hitting an enemy or making a jump. The Dragonfly King has lived for millions of years. It hails from a prehistoric time when life on Earth was ruled by its kind. Now it is trying to regain the Earth as its kingdom. Enjoy your time, Dragonfly King, for this is your last day. Listen to how funky the music for this area is. It's like if Mortal Kombat was a dance competition instead of a homicide tournament. Be ye not surprised though, because the guy who did the soundtrack for this, Mark Miller, also had a hand in the groove-tastic music that backed the Toe Jam and Earl games, as well as the first Earthworm Jim, parts of which do sound remarkably similar to this. Stop chucking rocks at me, you purple fuck. There you go. Kill yourself on that for me. There's a good lad. The Dragonfly King's flapping grounds are by far the shortest and easiest stages in the game to get through. Here you just gotta put this idiot to sleep. The one below us is a decoy, and because they take forever to kill, he's bought himself a few more precious minutes of life before I murder his beloved sovereign. And a gate will pop open and grant us the mallet, an utterly useless piece of shit, right up until we get to the second half of the game. Yes, let Chakan enter. Chakan has earned the right. Well, thank you very much. You'll finally find the sole practical use for the axe at the start of the second stage of the area here. You need it to chop down this here door. No word on why your monstrous warhammer can't pull that off too, but never mind. Here's Chakan! Kiss my black ass. Chakan! The axe can go away forever now. Fuck the axe. Does just as much damage as a scythe with half the damn range. What a joke. Now, some of you might not know that Chakan started out life as an obscure comic book. I haven't read it myself. In fact, I can't honestly remember the last time I did read a comic book, but oh no, yes I do. Chinatown. Nothing to do with a movie, but good stuff nonetheless. So, Chakan, actually I'm going to use the axe on this guy. I know I just said it was terrible, but for some reason the shorter range does a better job of stun locking him. I have no idea why. He is nigh on impossible to kill any other way. But after this, fuck the axe. Fuck it forever. So, Chakan's creator Robert Krauss was at a convention with his work and managed to catch the eye of one of Sega's in-house producers, Ed Annunziata, who turned out some stone cold classics in his early years. Echo the Dolphin, the first Spider-Man game on Genesis, D&D Warriors of the Eternal Sun, which everybody says is pants, but fuck 'em. Sank months into that shit when I was a kid. Before taking what I can only assume to be a rather unfortunate knock to the head, which manifested itself first in the absolutely batshit crazy Mr. Bones for the Saturn, and then Mort the Chicken on PlayStation, which was just shit. We got a pissed off Dragonfly King on our tails here, but we're just gonna take him to a nice quiet corner of the stage right here to squash him, instead of having to leap around all over the fucking shop. Put the axe away. Oh. Well, the range isn't actually that bad on it. I remember that being a far shittier weapon than it actually is. Fair enough then, axe. You can stay. He's an absolute joke, the so-called king, who's obviously ascended to the throne through size alone rather than combat ability. Just mind there's enough space between you and him when he swoops down at you, or he'll poke you with his tail as he flies off. Here we go. Get your grappling hook out for this final part when he starts charging you. Keep swinging it like so. Don't just hold it straight in front of you because the game's decided it's not going to let you hurt him like that. And pretty much just ends his own life. So much easier when they're cooperative about it. You deserve much praise. Yeah, but do I ever fucking get it? You have done well in clearing the terrestrial plane of all supernatural evil. You must now use the skills you have learned, both mental and physical, to best the challenges ahead. Luck be with you in the elemental plane. Ah! You thought that was the end of the game, son? You thought... No, you didn't. I've already told you it isn't, didn't I? God damn it. I was looking forward to springing that on you. Fuck me, well. Doesn't matter if you're expecting it or not. You're in the diarrhea rapids now with 2 broken arms and your tongue for a damn paddle, and your ordeal starts here in the new and improved realm of fire. It lives in the sea of fire, the sea of lava. It feeds upon the earth, leaving behind the stench of burning flesh. It is the last of its kind, and it must be destroyed. Its time has come. My god, I hate this place. Beyond words. From here on out, if you fuck up a jump by even a pixel either way, you die instantly. No hopping around with temporary invincibility trying to fudge your way out of the rivers of lava. Just kicking you the fuck back to the hub. Now, for me, this and the 3rd stage of the area are the hardest in the entire game. And these little bastards are the sole reason why. Not too bad there, you might think to yourself. Easily dealt with. Well, they respawn infinitely, and you're really going to get a nice salty taste of what that means for you in a couple of levels time. When you're hopping across tiny moving platforms with god-awful collision detection while desperately trying to dodge, duck and slice your way through dozens of the little fuckers. Now, you saw me just jumping over and over while I was waiting for the descending platform there. And that's a neat little trick that will help you survive longer than about 10 seconds in this realm, because a lot of times the game gets amnesia and forgets that it spawned anything, so when you come back down, all the irritating enemies are gone. Doesn't work all the time, but enough to give you a firm helping hand through this fucking ordeal. So yeah, anyway, the Chakan comic. There's a boss load of them. I wouldn't recommend checking them out on the artist's own website for it, which is really a very strange place that tries to automatically download QuickTime movies to your desktop every time you click a link, but Ed Annunziata was apparently most taken with the idea of a horribly scarred anti-hero making his way through some explicitly bleak environments, especially for the kind of stuff that was doing the rounds on home consoles at the time. This was as thematically as far a cry from Sonic the Hedgehog, Quackshot, James Pond, and whatever other family friendliness passed for a platformer mascot around 1992 as you could get, really. But by this point, Sega were right in the middle of making a very clear and apparent effort to target more mature and adult gamers by increasing their arsenal of titles with a far darker modality to them than Nintendo of America's campaign of censorship and bubble wrap could allow them to market themselves. I mean, the intent was already there, don't get me wrong. By that point we already had Splatterhouse 2, Techno Cop, Sword of Soden, The Immortal. Shit, even the pinball games were grim. Dragon's Fury was out, Bad Omen, which was devilish in this country. But I feel like Chakan especially, even if it didn't quite lay the foundations for the developmental direction of the Genesis, it certainly stuck a fair few bricks in the bottom of the wall. I mean, less than 6 months after this, we got Barney's Hide and Seek. You think that wasn't survival horror's clearest fucking progenitor by that point? Don't know what to tell you. But Robert Krauss wound up doing pretty damn well out of the game's release and all. Well, it was the early 90s anyway. There was a huge comic book boom going on, and if somebody besides Marvel or DC were going to climb on the back of that and ride it to the moon, certainly wasn't going to hurt your chances to have your own video game on what was, at the time, the world's leading home console. And what's interesting about the development of Chakan is that you had some very experienced people in the industry getting to grips with some of the Genesis's more problematic limitations to what ended up being great effect. For example, Stephen Ross and his wife Mira handled the art direction for Chakan. Stephen especially already had a number of titles on his belt across the Amiga, the TurboGrafx 16 and so forth. And he'd even already designed graphics for 2 Disney games on the Genesis in Darkwing Duck and Tailspin, but the difference here was that Disney games are very cheery and colourful, almost luridly so, and Chakan just, well, he'd set fire to the entirety of the Magic Kingdom if he wasn't so sure it'd make it even brighter. And one of the bigger problems with the Genesis, especially when the Super NES really started firing on all cylinders, was that it had a cripplingly limited colour palette, especially when it came to darker colours. Now, you basically had a spectrum where there were huge strides between black, dark blue and dark yellow. And worse still, those dark colours were prone to over-pixelization, which you'll notice here isn't just a result of sketchy emulation, it really was a stylistic quirk of how the game looked running on its native hardware back in 1992. Alright, this son of a bitch is a little tougher than anyone we've had to put down so far, save for Elkenrod. When he spits those fireballs at you, you want to be fairly close to him. If you're too far out, they'll come at you in a much tighter bunch. It's nearly impossible to dodge him and be down in time to crack him in the mooey with your scythe, so bait him a little bit by moving in, and then you can just walk in between the second and third fireballs as you retreat. Now there, you see that? That's if you kill him too quickly, he doesn't explode like everybody else. He just starts freaking out like he's got himself a case of the damn rabies, flapping all over the place until the screen fades to black. I have no idea why. Those fireballs can't actually hurt you because the game's essentially already killed him, but he doesn't know that yet. He's just running on sheer bewildered rage by that point. Within the core of this plane dwells a creature of destruction. Like a cancer, this evil eats away at the heart of its host. It is like a living planet and can detect the presence of any and all intruders. I must travel swift and light to reach its hidden brood. No, we got us another kingdom of bugs to squash here. Thankfully nothing as utterly aggravating as the Spider Queen's arachnid daycare centre, but what the darling little grublings in this realm lack in physical irritation, they more than make up for by carving an absolutely ear-splitting war cry out of the Genesis's FM sound chip. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up! The good old Yamaha YM2612 heard at full cacophonous work there. Technically, the Super NES had the far superior sound chip in the Nintendo SSMP, with a much richer and broader range of voices available to it, but the inescapably twangy YM2612 could use its shortcomings to sometimes superior effect in the right hands. If you spent any extended amount of time on the Genesis, you'll notice that its soundtracks are a bit rubbish at emulating real instruments. That said, there is a lovely bit of bass work in the theme for the Mantis stages that we went through. But what it does inimitably well is creates the kind of nightmarish synthy dissonance that you used to hear soundtracking Italian horror movies in the 1970s, so for games like Chakan or Splatterhouse 2, it's absolutely perfect. Right, there you see the stage's glaring, unstoppable problem, weaving in and out of the narrow tunnel like it's attached to a big sweaty pair of demonic bollocks looking for some jollies. If that abomination catches you, it'll plough all the way back to the start of the level with you in its clutches, drop you off, spit in your face, and wish you better luck next time. So, we're knocking ourselves up an invisibility potion here because you can't catch what you can't see, can you? You 50-foot son of a bitch. Now, I'm pretty sure you can do this without the potion by the skin of your teeth, by ducking in and out of the cubby holes in the ground and ceiling. Pretty sure. But with a flip of a coin logic that this fucking game runs on, I'm not putting any of my money on it. Another short collection of levels it is then, as we have a very brief descent of the nest to make before we face off with Mother Dreadworm here. Another boss that this game insists on making you guess your half zombie nuts off on how to kill properly. Little Billy Murder Dick will be back in a sec, so let's take our medicine. Sorry Billy, no hugs today. And here we go, so the idea here is to avoid the pincers, give her a belly tickle, quickly move to the upside, deal with the eggs that she shits out, rinse and repeat until Age swings the axe on one ear. That's really it. Doesn't change, doesn't get any more tactically complex than that. There is of course a catch. You can do this two ways. You can hit her with a weapon that actually inflicts a noticeable amount of damage, or you can plink away with a weapon that seriously, you might as well be trying to lick her to death. Easy choice, no? Well, it is, but only once you realise that all the weapons that seriously hurt her will cause her to lower her pinches as she retreats back into the wall, which will always hit you for massive damage. Always. So, to recap, your two choices here are die horribly, having almost killed her, or die of boredom, having not even come close to killing her. And I'm just showing you this here to prove my point. I'm not joking, because I think that even with this amount of sand in the hourglass, you could run up clock trying to kill her with one of the only weapons that won't also get you killed. Me personally, I've had enough of this shit for today, so I'm gonna take the third option. Set my goddamn swords on fire and blow the skank off her teeth before she can even get on screen properly. Get the fuck out of it, you little turds. Go on, back in your hole, bitch. Exit stage right. Some might call this the easy way out. To them I say, play this ruthless son of a bitch for yourselves, and you'll see that there is no easy way out. And if the game's in a bad mood that day, there might not be any fucking way out at all. But the Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. And our next stop combines an already janky control set with one of the most deeply despised mechanics in platformer gaming. The Tundra Beast. It absorbs warmth and light from the inhabitants of the Earth. It uses its evil powers for the coming of the Dark Ice Age so that only the cold-blooded may live. Now it is your turn, Ice Beast. Your turn to... what? Skipped a part of your promo there, did you, Chakan? Work needed. Alright, as soon as you start, jump, because the screen has barely faded in from black before you got a killer ice Alsatian leaping for your balls. Lovelies, welcome to the Ice Realm. A place that exemplifies everything wrong with fucking ice-themed stages in retro games and much, much more. Now, not only are you battling the might give a shit what you tell them to do controls, you're also sliding all over the goddamn place like you're table dancing at bloody KFC. Mix this in with the fact that a lot of the jumps you need to make in this stage are very specific, like if you don't explicitly use a short, long or spinning jump on them, you're going in a spike pit or the water and you're not coming out. Mix that in nice and thorough and you have a superb runner-up for the hardest area in the game. It's really personal preference between this and Lava Land, I feel. One wrong twitch of the thumb in either of them will shit all over your trainers. Right, fuck Ice World Level 2, fuck it in its frozen snow-capped arse. You see that? You see how it used the mallet to break through the ground there? Now, you'd think that was a diagonal attack, wouldn't you? Everything about that suggests that it is a diagonal attack. Every other weapon has one, every other bloody weapon, but not the mallet. Oh, you'll stand there and try for the rest of your life trying to smash through the floor with a mallet with a diagonal attack, but you'll just get a crouching swing instead. So you start messing around. You jump up and attack, and notice that when Chakan does that with the mallet, he swings it downward diagonally. Yes, you think to yourself, I are smarty pants, I are have solved great mystery of ancient inscrutability. So, you know that all you have to do is hit the ice just before you land, and the attack frame resets itself. So you jump, and you swing, and you jump, and you swing, and you jump and you swing, and you jump and you swing, jump and swing, jump and fucking swing, and nothing happens for you. Ever. Looks like you're getting close. Oh, so very close, but it's just like the motherfucking barrel obstacle from Sonic 3. Gives you just enough leeway to believe that you found the right solution, and it lets you carry on doing it while going blue in the damn face trying to stop itself from laughing at you. But the difference between Chakan and Sonic 3 is that navigating Sonic around that game doesn't feel like trying to telekinetically push a sock full of dog shit through a brick wall. The controls are bad enough here that you're not surprised when what appears to be a basic action only seems to work a quarter of the goddamn time, so you have even less reason to doubt that you're not doing the right thing. So, what you actually have to do, alright? What you actually have to do to break through the ice with that fucking hammer is hold the attack button and up at the same time, and then perform a very quick sweep clockwise down the directional pad to simulate raising the hammer above your head and then swinging it down onto the ground. I mean, let's take away the fact that it's already an incredibly fiddly move to pull off in the first place, even if you know what you're doing, because how in the fuck you ever meant to figure that one out? It's the kind of needlessly obscure shit that you solve by accident in a fit of frustrated rage while you're mashing every goddamn direction and button you can at the same time, maybe biting a couple too if your mouth isn't busy screaming into a pillow, and then you pull it off by mistake, die, and spend the next 4 hours trying to replicate it. Chicka 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 Chakan! I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker! Chakan! This bloody ice rafting section goes on forever, and much like the rest of the game, it is bogged to fuck. The problems happen mainly when the slabs of ice cross over each other. Do not jump for that crossover, because it doesn't matter if there's a hole for you to physically fall through and drown or not. 5 times out of 10 Chakan will find you one anyway. That's right, lovelies. You can fall through solid fucking ground and die here. You get the same crap back in the lava stages as well. At least here we haven't got 10,000 motherfucking lava bats putting their flaming balls out on our face every time we jump. Alright, watch this. A trick so good they used it twice. Look at this bollocks. Ah! There, now you see that? They throw a fucking mutant husky at you before the screen's even half faded in. If you don't jump within the first 3 frames from the black loading screen, you're getting hit before you even know what's happening to you. What a filthy trick, man. This game can be more dishonorable if it randomly unpaused itself while you're off taking a shit to throw you into a ravine. Alright, mercifully short this one. We've got the Tundra Beast coming up in a second, one of the simplest bosses in Chakan. Much more predictable than anything from the Terrestrial plane even, on account of it having an actual attack pattern, like an actual authentic 16-bit boss, and not just running around all over the damn place like a crap house rat with a fork in its ass, flinging out projectiles whenever it likes. Get ready to hop. Ah! Ha to thee, Tundra Beast. Right, plant yourself just in the middle of this set of waterfalls here because it's the only place it'll stop to attack you. Come on. There we are. So, first, it'll give you a taste of its eyeball lasers. Duck that one. Then it'll come back up and try to poke you in the yam bag with its icy doom claws. That's a wee little frolic to clear the danger. And right after you land, just start swinging the mallet because it does have a third attack where it will shoot spines out of its back that home in on you like little missiles, but this is the only point in its entire cycle where it's vulnerable, so make sure you're there to smash it in the chops and you'll cancel the attack and the cycle will begin anew. Easy peasy. You don't even have to move. Takes about 5 goes around to splatter this son of a bitch for good. Get yourselves cozy. Ooh, almost forgot. Chakan isn't actually mean right the way through to its black heart. If you want to play around with the controls, all the weapons, all the potions and have the enemies do pitiful amounts of damage to you, you're more than welcome to check out practice mode, where you are, for all intents and purposes, a fucking god. Now, legitimately speaking, practice mode will only let you fight through the first 4 realms in the game. You get a patronising ending screen after that and you're expected to stop being a pussy and go play the game properly, but there is a way to carry on through the whole game in practice mode, and this is the same trick that will allow you to speedrun the entire thing in about 15 minutes. There's a platform on the navigation screen just above and to the right of where the Dragonfly King's gateway is, where you can cast an exit spell that will allow you to skip the first 4 realms completely and come straight to the elemental plane. Now, it's easiest to get the potions you need for the spell by popping into Dragonfly King's house actually. You only need 2, and because you automatically skip over the first half of the game, it grants you all the weapons that you don't already have, because obviously you can't go back and collect them, and that's only on normal and hard difficulties. As I said, you get infinite potions and all the weapons straight from the beginning of practice mode. Theoretically, if you were in practice mode, you could probably put this in the ground in less than 10 minutes by forever spamming invincibility potions and dash rolling your way to the end. One more slap in the teeth should do us here. I've saved the most fun for last, and for once, that's not me being facetious. Come on, back to Lapland, you spiky freak. Thank the Lord. The price you pay for an easy boss in this game. 8th and final realm, right this way, ladies and gentlemen. 'Tis time to make quarrel with the Dark Riders. Dark Riders on winged beasts block my way to Death's realm. Let no man bar my path, lest he meet his maker. Neither flesh nor electricity shall hinder me. That might seem like an oddly specific pair of elements to swear defiance against her. Watch out for solar panel in there, checkers. But Chakan obviously has the gift of premonition because the dick bags that populate this area do love themselves an electric trap. You gotta hang around at the start here until the bug jockeys show up. They're your ticket to great joy, because once they're dead, oh, fuck it. Next one. Come here. Just keep whacking at them with a scythe and they'll fly straight into it. That's the one. Saddle up, you sons of bitches. We're going for a ride. Yee-haw! So, you spend the vast majority of these 3 levels flying around on the back of this fucking thing. Don't know the actual name of. Oh, yes, I do. Flying insectoids is what the manual calls them. That's a rubbish name, though. I say we come up with our own. How about Flobble Wasp? No. What the fuck is purple coloured in this world? Prunes. Prune Flapper. That's the ticket. Unsettle that prune flapper, you son of a bitch. There'll be another one along and... Oh, right on time. Well, you're not. You're 5 seconds late. How dare you? Prune flapper away! Oh, what the fuck? Oh, shit. Yeah, there's a sniper that can shoot through the walls. Of course there is. You'll notice that if you lose your prune flapper in midair, it will gently start descending so that you can climb back on it. Faithful beasts and servants are the prune flappers. Plus you can give any enemies lurking below you a nice chest cavity full of stinger, which is satisfying as fuck. The one thing you gotta watch out for while you're flying around here is that if you even tap the ceiling, if one fibre of your hat fabric bristles even the faintest pixel of what this game determines to be a ceiling, which naturally extends to some walls and floors whenever it feels like it, Chakan will hurl himself to the ground like God himself has cock-slapped him. You can dismount whenever you like with down and jump, a little tactic I will most likely put to solid use against the boss in this upcoming final stage. But your prune flapper cares not for contact with most other surfaces or objects. The key to a long-lasting bond with this magical creature is to spend as much time hovering motionless in one place as possible, making them ideal pets for absolutely nobody. Alrighty, nearly there, lovelies. Nearly conquered this ball breaker. You probably don't need me to tell you this, but for Christ's sake, don't touch the electric beam traps. They'll cut you down to one single skull of health. Same tech as back in Zombie Nation, if your mind hasn't repressed that mad bastard nightmare. Ooh, who should we choose? Oh, you cheeky prune flapper. Did you see that? I was about to saddle up on his pal, but he just hovered up out of nowhere and stole his fare. I like your enthusiasm, son. We'll go far together. Man, it'd be nice if one of my weapons was a rifle, wouldn't it? Me and Pruny here could fly around doing drive-bys on these punk motherfuckers. Bye for now, Pruny. Remember me for the good times, and not the stain I left on your saddle. And my hat. Remember the hat. Tell your people. God damn it, that's a nice hat. Gotta be the best of the 16-bit era, hasn't it? Gotta be. Maybe the best hat in the entirety of gaming history up until that point. No, let's not go nuts. Let's never forget the unrivaled badassery of the Red Mage's feathered pimp hat from the first Final Fantasy game. My god, that hat was incredible. My god. It's literally the only reason to pick that piece of shit class. Alright, let's electrocute this son of a bitch and go home. The Prune Flapper Commander is nearly fucking impossible to take out without a little alchemical assistance here. Look at the size of his goddamn lance. Just look at... Wait, no sniggering in the back. Get your minds out the sewers, you fucking reprobates. Seriously, you will never get close to him without magic. He moves faster than you, hits at a far longer range than you, so literally the only way to hurt him by ducking underneath his charge, coming up underneath him, and poking him with a shitty grappling hook is so dependent on luck and split-second timing, and mainly luck, that we could be easily stuck here for another length's worth of the video so far trying to poke him to death. Just don't do it to yourself. You got nothing to fucking prove to Chakan. A game they couldn't even be bothered to finish properly before they kicked it out the damn door. After an insane amount of hits, his lance should finally break. Hopefully any second now. There we are. And go fuck yourself! See, that's what I was talking about. You'll never avoid that initial dive after he breaks his lance while you're on the prune flapper, so it's easier to just dismount and take him on again once he's settled down. You going to hell, bug fucker? Goodbye! There we are, lovelies. Pat on the back, kettle on. Call your mum and make her proud. Nah, I didn't go to any job interviews today, mum. But I beat Chakan. No, Chakan, mum. No, I haven't been beating my chicken. Why would I tell you that? It is quiet. All too much time has passed since my first meeting with death, and I am weary. I have rid the elemental and terrestrial planes of evil and await my reward. It would seem all darkness has been destroyed. Only now may I seek my rest eternal. Bit of a naff ending, you'd have to say. Bit underwhelming after everything you've suffered. Well, hold on to your lovely hat, gang. It's about to get a whole lot underwhelminger. Roll credits over death, sailing along in his weird spaceship boat. But even that is not the end of your trials. Oh no, I tricked you, lovelies. Unpack that back, unplug that kettle. Call your mother back and tell her that there's been a terrible mix-up. There's still one more boss fight to be had here to determine the true ending that you get, but first, we gotta sit through this shit. You see how devious it is? It wants you to get up and walk away. It wants you to go for that piss you've been holding onto for the last half an hour, so that you hear yourself taking a beating and come charging back into the room to investigate, the dying flow of urine striking shameful stripes down your trouser leg. But until then, we got about 30 seconds to kill, so here's a bit of trivia for you. Chakan was due a sequel on the Sega Dreamcast back in about 2001. There was a tech demo made, which you can find here on YouTube, of Chakan swinging his swords all about the place, pulling off his iconic spinning combine harvester jump, but the project collapsed, and the work that went into it eventually found a new home in Blood Omen 2, Legacy of Kain. Mostly environmental concept art and enemy design, to be fair. It's not like they just replaced Chakan with Kain, but interesting nonetheless, especially when you consider that the franchise's most famous game, Soul Reaver, started out life completely disconnected from the Legacy of Kain universe, originally going by the name Shifter, and having far more to do with angels and biblical themes than it did vampires. Alrighty, Death will have his say before we get to slap the maggots out of his teeth here. The mocking laugh of the Dark One, Death, Chakan, it has taken you a long time to come to this. You said when all of the beasts of the dark were slain, then I would have my rest. Ha, 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 ha. Let me now show you the totality of your curse, Chakan. Look above you. See the countless skies above, each surrounded by worlds like yours. Worlds thick with supernatural evils. They are so many and so far away, and you are stuck on this mote of dust, waiting to reach them. Waiting such a long, long time. Waiting forever. Damn you, Reaper! How dare you taunt me with your hidden contract clauses and potential storylines for a number of sequels in case this does decent numbers. Not all evil has been destroyed. Yep, you catch on fast with them there lightning brains, Chakan. Maybe you should have dueled Noam Chomsky instead. That's just an absolute joke. Even when he's behind the wheel of the Deathmobile. Shitbox. What is that? The Afterlife short bus? As long as you stay in front of this piece of crap, there's nothing it can even think about doing to you. It's not that difficult if you haven't got any potions to completely take the piss out of it with either. Just jump in and out for spinning slash attack. Now, if you die while you're fighting death, you don't get another shot. You just get the bad ending, which is a single line of text that says, "Rest will come another day," which is, you know, a super positive attitude to take. Probably the most life-affirming thing in the whole game, to be honest. It's the good ending that does everything in its goddamn power to piss you off. You know, I always wondered what the point of this was. Fighting death again isn't going to achieve anything, is it? You're still cursed. You made the stupid bet. You might argue that death's attacking you, but why would he do that? What's he going to do, kill you? Isn't that exactly what you want? Come on, explode, you heap of shits. Please don't glitch and fuck up like you fuck everything else up. Explode! There we are. Haha! Enjoy the walk home, murder fossil. Alright. Check this shit out. This is the good ending. Pretty fucking mind blowing, ain't it? You know what you have to do? You have to sit here for 15 minutes. 15 fucking minutes watching this hourglass to see the actual ending. Now, luckily, I have the black magic of emulation frame skipping available to me, so we're gonna go ahead and fast forward this son of a bitch right here. And there it is. Not the end. That's it. That's the good ending. That's what you get. And it really is the end. There's no more. So, it's a barefaced fucking liar too. Bravo, Chakan. Burn in a compost fire. Join me next time on Retro Rumble for a trot through an utterly appalling piece of crap for the NES. You thought Futurama was the first entertainment medium to dream up robot hell? Then your loved ones were right to shield you from the mechanized terror of Robo Demons. See you in the Lake Robo Fire!